Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Oh, hey, everyone. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday Night Live, and it's the zoo. We're here with the preparedmind.club. We're here with X, a.k.a. Twitter. We're here with subscribestar.com. We're here with, well, the entire internet. It's the Prepared Mind Network. I want to thank all of you for showing up. We have one hell of a show today. I've got some great super chats to start. I actually had a couple of drinks to start as well, but we're going to get into it. If you have something to say, down below, we've got PayPal, Venmo, CashApp. That's how you can get your questions, comments guaranteed on the screen. Otherwise, it's up to the generosity of Jolene, the prepared mother, and she's our moderator tonight. Uman is tending to a very large piece of steak at a family barbecue, and he may pop on as well. But here we go. We're going to start off with some great super chats. We always start the show off, and these people are leaders and show us the way on how it's done. This, in fact, Sunday Night Live is our flagship presentation. Oh, Monday through Friday, we do our Zero Dark 30. Monday through Friday, we do our afternoon broadcast and catalog and document the week of SHTF and why you should be prepared, folks. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. But it's really the Sunday show where your contributions, your donations, your payments to, well, engage in the conversation, it does keep the lights on, the pantry full, and the bottle of scotch fresh and full. And here we are, folks. I'm going to start off the show with Chin Music. He did a $52.43 Venmo super chat donation. Now, Darcy T has done a $50 super chat, and so has Dan the Man. We'll get to them next, but Darcy, get me your question. Email it on in. She's got special email privileges, and we need to, Jolene, we need to get that to Dan as well. Make sure he's got a backdoor in, because he is a great contributor and supporter of our Freedom Project, which is freedom of speech, freedom and right to protect ourselves and our nation, and freedom, folks, to offend the living shit out of the Democrats. And they are offended. They are scared to death. You, my friends, my brothers and sisters, my American, Canadian, Mexican, right? All these people, I love everyone. You know who I don't love? I don't love politicians. I don't love lawyers, and I don't love criminals. So I couldn't give a shit if you're Mexican or Canadian or European or Australian. As long as you love freedom, you're a friend of the Prepared Mind Network. So let's start with Chin Music. Like I said, he did a $52.43 super chat donation through Venmo, and he has bought me now a 15-year single malt Scotch whiskey. So starting the show off, share the internet address. Hit the share button if you're on X, and then click on the video on X. Click on the video to take you to the comment section so you can participate. The show is not just about what I say. It's about what you guys comment, talk, and share, because people will come and they'll just go for the comments. That's you guys. And for people who want to listen, your comments that come through, right, are very valuable, because then we get to discuss them at length. Chin Music, here's to you, brother. Semper Fi, down the hatch, and God bless America. Woo! Oh, man. Mother's milk indeed. Okay. Here we go. So this is what Chin Music says. He sent me a thing. He says, it's okay to hate commies. He says, so I'm at the store wearing my "It's Okay to Hate Commies" t-shirt when I overhear a little boy about age 10. He asks his mother quietly, "Mom, What's a commie? And Chin Music is like, man, I'm like, shit, this kid can read. We got a chance here, right? I turned to her using a baseball analogy. Mom, this is a slow roller. Would you like me to field it for you? She said, no, sir, I'm quite capable, and my husband would love your shirt. I'm calling a timeout on Chin Music's thing. This makes me fucking proud that father would be proud, mother can answer the question, and kid wants to know information. And by the way, I just got Darcy T's question in. Bam! Awesome. So back to Chin Music's public service announcement on why it's okay to hate a communist. She said, no, sir, I'm quite capable. My husband would love your shirt. To which I replied, he would? Then how come your son doesn't know what a commie is? Then he laughed out loud. The look on her face was priceless. She was thinking, damn, he's right. It's not even noon on Sunday, and my job here is done. Enjoy and Semper Fi, prepared mind family. Folks, I couldn't be more proud of Chin Music, of Big Dan the Man, Darcy T, and the rest of you, everyone, Bonnie, Cottage Farm, John, the other John, John N. up north. There's a lot of Johns, by the way. And every one of you who are patriotic. We've got our brothers in Canada, our brothers in Scotland, England, Ireland, Australia, in the Netherlands. We got Carlos Granados down in Mexico. We're all patriots. We're all on the same team. We want freedom for ourselves. We want national protection in our countries. We want cooperation and not condemnation and slavery. Unbelievable. Great story coming out of Chin Music. Thanks, man. That is just awesome to hear. And by the way, it's okay to hate commies. Let me tell you why. And a lot of people don't know this. I know you guys probably do, but we're getting new subscribers every day. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you subscribe to us. And if you join us on the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com at the Prepared Mind, there's premium membership there, and that supports us as well. So thank you, one, and thank you all. Woo! Make sure you are signed up somewhere and get other people to come so we can take care of business. Darcy T, $50 super chat donation. Now, Jolene, Prepared Mother, we're at 200 people live. As soon as I'm done with Darcy T's question and answer, it'll be up. It'll be Big Dan the Man's turn, and I want to make sure we get them all rattled through and talked about, because this stuff matters. This, my friends, brothers, and sisters, is another Glenn Levitt. You don't have to do $50, by the way. $50 or more buys a scotch. You can do 556, one of my favorite numbers. 763, you can do 308. You can do whatever you want. 1776. It's all good stuff. And you'll see lots of different numbers popping up on different shows because people are creative. And I got to tell you, I love it. I thank you. Semper Fi. And this one is from Darcy T. Woo! That'll limber up the brains. Help me get into the groove. Darcy says, with all the tariffs being levied between countries now, what do you suppose the end game will be? My guess is that we are in for more NAFTAs on a global scale, making us even less self-reliant. I think it's quite the opposite. NAFTA was a free trade union. It was a free trade union for North America, and that's exactly what it stands for, North American Free Trade Association. Europe did the European Union, which is supposed to be about free trade and currency conglomeration, right? The euro. Instead, it became an unelected political bureaucracy, the European Union out of Brussels. And they ended up telling countries, well, if you want to participate and stay in, well, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. You've got to let in illegals. You got to bring in people that fucking hate you, hate Christians, hate your culture, hate your laws, and let them come in and start raping your women. That's the European Union. Oh, we're not going to do anything like that in America. To the contrary, my friends, brothers, and sisters, We know what Trump is doing. They are going around and rounding up these worthless, illegal criminals, and they're tossing them out. They're putting them on planes back to Colombia, Venezuela, Central American countries, Mexico. We're getting rid of them. Now, with respect to trade, what is it that a tariff does? Well, it raises price on foreign goods. That's an import tariff. For other countries who want to send their stuff here, they have to pay a tax. Now, that cost, that burden is passed on to the consumer of, well, that's from America. Say it's an American, it's a Trump tariff, right? That gets tacked on to the price of the goods. That tariff is collected by the government. It's a tax. So what does it do? Well, because other countries exploit the land, they don't take care of their land very well. They don't take care of their people. They pay them fucking peanuts. And so it gives them an unfair trade advantage. Free trade is not free. Someone's paying for it. Free trade allows a country with no labor restrictions and requirements, no environmental concerns and requirements. They can just make products, mine, process, fabricate, manufacture, package, and ship cheaper than America. So we're at a disadvantage to countries like Mexico, Brazil, China, Indonesia, Malaysia, etc., etc., etc. India, oh yeah, South Africa, sir. Right? So a tariff puts us on even footing because their price is lower. Tariff brings it up. Now, it actually makes American mining, agriculture, production, harvesting, whatever you want to call it, manufacturing, packaging, and shipping to the end consumer, it puts us closer to par, even. So instead of making us less self-reliant, it makes the United States of America more self-reliant. If Canada wants to put tariffs on us, so be it. Same story. Mexico, you want to put a tariff on America? You want to raise the prices on your people? Go right ahead, right? You can stop buying American goods and American services and American products and make all of your own. Now, the advantage does go to large countries with large geographic areas, because they are more apt to have mineral resources, food resources, natural resources, electrical or energy resources like, well, coal, gas, oil, uranium, you bet. Precious metals like gold and silver. Folks, Mexico is an incredibly rich country in precious metals and other raw materials and minerals. Canada, same story. Canada, per capita, is an incredibly wealthy country. So what have they done? They've become a bunch of socialist punks in the government. Now, when I talk about Canada and use a negative tone, it's because I'm talking about the government, the illegals they have there, or the fucked up socialists, whether they're politicians or people on the street. Same with America. I love Americans, except for lying politicians, lying bankers, left-wing corporate people, scumbag Democrats, because Democrats love killing babies. They love sending our money away. They love open borders. They like sending our money out of the country. They like taking your rights, like your right to free speech, practice your religion, have a Second Amendment to protect yourselves. They hate that. They don't like you having any rights. That's why I don't like them at all. Fuck them. So tariffs require a country to become more self-reliant. It does affect our cost of living, our standard of living. Yeah, it does. And it can have a very negative effect. High tariffs. Now, what is going on in the Trump government? See, this is not what's known as a zero-sum game, right? If you can only produce 5 apples, you can only make 1 pie. Well, if you get rid of environmental restrictions, aka government regulations, you allow people to use water to plant more trees, you're going to have more fucking apples. It's not a 1 apple world. Instead of 5 apples, you'll be able to grow 25, or 250. You see, and you can have a lot more pies. You can create more wealth. Production creates wealth. Agriculture creates wealth. Mining creates wealth. Logging creates wealth. So instead of having us be reliant on other countries for their cheap shit, we learn to rely and we practice relying on ourselves and creating prosperity. You've got to make stuff to have prosperity. So cost of living is heavily influenced by energy. The United States of America has natural gas, coal, oil, which is used for making diesel fuel, gasoline, asphalts for roads, building products, medicines, et cetera, et cetera. And we also have an enormous amount of uranium, which can be used to make nuclear fuel to run nuclear power plants, which are safer than any other type of energy production, including windmills and solar. Additionally, folks, the energy production that a nuclear power plant does creates not only electricity, it creates hydrogen, which is a useful gas. It creates fresh water. It can desalinate water, which is good for agriculture. And I don't know, maybe a city like Los Angeles and the Los Angeles basin that doesn't seem to have enough water to put out a fucking fire. So this is a great topic, and I want to thank Darcy T for bringing it up and for the great $50 super chat donation. The tariffs are going to make our lives different. But we have so much energy, we can keep the cost of traveling, the cost of going to work and home, the cost of having fun, the cost of transporting goods across the country, trains, planes, automobiles, semi-trucks, delivery vans. Our energy costs can come down if we take our own energy and put it to work. We need to start mining our own uranium instead of relying on Russia to take their nuclear stockpile, which they're not doing anymore, by the way, take the uranium out of their nuclear weapons, convert it down to pellets for nuclear power plants, and then selling that to the world. That's what killed our uranium mining, conversion, and processing facilities in this country. We have absolutely, since Bill Clinton, been crippling our own country with this practice. And now Russia has got some leverage against the world, do they not? Yeah, they do. Anyways, great topic. Thank you, Darcy T. Let us move on. We'll be talking about tariffs a lot more in the future. Rut-row, we got Chin Music, Jolene, has checked back in with another 556 super chat donation, $5.56. And he says, John, former Federal Reserve senior advisor John Rogers has been arrested for passing trade secrets to China. The rot is so deep, 4 years won't be nearly enough. Holy shit. Okay. Yes, folks. We still don't have Pam Bondi as the Attorney General. Yet somehow the government has figured out that when someone commits a crime, you go arrest their ass. Wait until there is Pam Bondi. She's going to pass, folks. She's going to be passed by the Senate, and she'll be the next Attorney General. Kash Patel will be passed by the Senate vote, and he'll be the next director of the FBI. We already have Pete Hegseth. And by the way, I want to thank Marco Rubio, and we'll talk about what he's done as Secretary of State. Interesting times, folks. Doesn't it feel good to love your country and fight for it? If we don't fight now, politically, we'll be fighting with guns and then knives and then rocks and sticks. Anyways, John Rogers, giving trade secrets to China. In other words, he worked inside the Federal Reserve Bank. He worked, alongside the government. And he's telling our competitive adversary, China. You could say they're our enemy, but they're also a great trading partner. By the way, China is getting tariffs also, 10%. They've been told to knock off the fentanyl. No more shipping fentanyl to Mexico, Canada, so it can come into America and fuck up us, right? Now, let us continue. This is amazing stuff. So John Rogers, he's the tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. DOGE, D-O-G-E. Under Elon Musk and his organization have been authorized to go in and start auditing the Treasury and where they're sending our fucking money. And guess what they've already found? $1 trillion in waste and fraud. You said that's the United States give money away arm of the government, which was created by executive order, can be destroyed by Trump's executive order. They have been giving money away, whether a country or an organization is qualified to get the money. They haven't said no a single fucking time. And they went in and they said, give us access to the government computers. We are here to audit you. And the people in that department said, we're not giving you the passwords, and we quit. They're trying to hide their criminality, folks. Trump is delivering. Shit is hitting the fan. There will be consequences, by the way. There will be consequences. The deep state will not like this. The traitors in the CIA and the FBI and the IRS, the NSA, any other DHS, government bureaucracy, they're not going to like it. The international banking cartel is not going to like it. And we'll be talking about gold, silver, remonetization of them, or at least holding precious metals in reserve and backing our currency, because like it or not, we will be going into a new international currency system. BRICS has already done it. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and another couple of dozen countries. Like it or not, it's happening right now. Trump has put tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and that's 50% of the silver importation that the United States gets. Another one, big one, is Peru, Argentina, and several other countries that also produce silver that comes into this country. Silver is not just a precious metal for monetary purposes. It is a strategic military metal, a defense metal. It is an industrial metal used for the production of everything. It is the most versatile product on the planet, second only to crude oil. Hundreds of products come out of crude oil, and hundreds of products come out of silver that cannot be done by any other metal. Silver is incredibly valuable. They're doing it, folks, right now. We're in process. We're in progress. Monday morning, tomorrow morning, we're going to wake up. In fact, tonight it starts. When Asian markets open, the precious metals, we could see it go way up. We could see it go way down. It could go flat. But the change is now off, right? They've opened the gates. The horses can run. There are going to be changes in supply lines. Canada could say, America, we give you 20% of your silver and gold. Go fuck yourselves. And now we can't get gold and silver here. Mexico could do the same thing. England right now, the LME, the London Metals Exchange, is supposed to be shipping gold back into America. In other words, the United States of America, aka the government, right now, is quietly, but not secretly, quietly repatriating, importing gold back into this country for the purpose of increasing our reserve. Trump said the other day, we're ready for a golden age. I hope you understand what that means. Times, they is a changing. Shit is going to get wild and weird as fuck. People like John Rogers, and know who else is in trouble potentially? Janet Yellen. You know who else is potentially in trouble? Everyone in the FBI. What, James Comey, Chris Wray, Peter Strzok, Ruby Rod Rosenstein. The CIA, John Brennan and others, they're in trouble. They could be arrested. Mark Milli Vanilli, general. These people are no longer allowed to have security details, secret access, and they're not allowed in government buildings anymore. Well, unless they're being arrested, of course. Oh, folks, it's going to get fucking interesting. Now, Jolene, I want to thank you for putting chin music up there. I believe Big Dan the Man has got something to say today, and I want to welcome him back onto the board. Big Dan the Man. And he did a $50 super chat into PayPal. And Dan, oh, brother, have we got our fucking hands full. Everyone, do we not? Here's to you, Dan. Like mother's milk. That'll take your breath away. Woo! And Dan says, Big John, Trump is keeping his promises and kicking ass. The Trumpinator is in D.C. Don't believe for a second, folks. Notice how the hair color on Trump is very similar now to mine. Look at that. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? That Trump. Anyways, my son Luke has got this for me. I love that guy. Anyways, Dan, Trump is keeping his promises. How many times have we've been promised by a politician? In fact, Trump's first term, Trump 1.0, he made lots of promises, but he was stonewalled. He was shit canned. Everything they could, they just got in his way, impeded him, lied to him, cheated, refused it. Trump 2.0 is not fucking around, right? No more of that. He's keeping his promises. I don't care what people say. I care what they fucking do. And Trump is doing so much that the Democrats don't know where to start resisting and fighting. They don't know. It's beautiful, folks. I love it. He is kicking ass. People are being arrested. Oh, yeah, it's coming, folks. It's coming. Bill Gates is panicking. Mark Zuckerberg is panicking. Oh, you bet. I can't wait. George Soros, I think he climbed back under a rock and is digging down into the mud to hide. But Trump had better watch his ass. They will put a bullet through his brain quicker than you can say, look out, JFK. They're going to try. I'm not surprised if they will. They may hit him. Remember, Reagan was shot early in his first term. And the brother of the shooter was having dinner with George H.W. Bush, the vice president. Surprise. Right? These people are sneaky, lying, conniving bastards. And Trump, I'm sure, has learned his fucking lesson because he has been shot through the ear. Whoosh, barely missed his head. Right? The Trumpinator is on it. President Donald John Trump is doing exactly what he said. And there is big fucking trouble brewing. In fact, politicians, oh, you want free speech? You've got free speech, right? But even without Pam Bondi, and when she gets in there, look out. She did not like being insulted by sleazy, skeezy Democrats. Well, the Department of Justice is already opening investigation into Chuck Schumer. That's right. Chuck is in trouble, Dan. Wait till we have Pam in there as an attorney general. Not all the cast-offs and rejects and wannabes and liars from the Merrick Garland attorney general and Department of Justice and the Christopher Wray James Comey FBI. It's all going to change, and it's going to get a lot nastier. Remember when Chuck Schumer threatened Supreme Court justices back when they were deciding Roe v. Wade and what to do with it? And they ended up saying, not our problem. That's a state issue. Leave us out of it. Well, Chuck Schumer decided he was going to fucking pressure them. Threats. Folks, the United States of America is a law and order nation. We're a nation of laws, not Sharia law. And it shouldn't be Roman civil law. It's supposed to be English common law with a bent on the Declaration of Independence and the rights of humans, individual beings being supreme to collectivism. Law and order, folks. Donald Trump is keeping his promises. I will support the man 100%. If he makes a mistake, an error, I will criticize it 100%. Trump tariffs. There's so much stuff that wasn't on my bingo card, Dan. So much stuff, right? I'm like, holy shit, he wasn't fucking around. He won the election. Camel Toes Harris seated, said, I lost. And from that moment forward, Trump has been putting together a plan with all of his cabinet members, cabinet concepts, Department of Government Efficiency. I mean, the DOGE, Elon Musk, has found already and saving $1 trillion fucking dollars. And they have barely started to fire anyone in the bureaucracies. I mean, they fired plenty, somewhere around 500. Not enough, not good enough. I want more. But the $1 trillion has been money that the government is just pissing away and, poking a vein on us and just bleeding us. That's 10% of the federal budget. And Trump has only been in office 2 work weeks. 2 work weeks, right? Unfucking believable. Thank you very much, Dan the Man. Dan. And yes, Jolene, here, it's just me and you on the Signal back channel. And what I'm going to do is I've got so many topics to cover. I want to cover what people are talking about down below. Super chat donations always get a preference and will get up. If you do a super chat donation, I won't hit the kill camera. I won't kill the button on the camera until we're all done with it. But we have a lot to discuss. Where do we go? Okay, I'm going to finish up on Trump kicking ass combined with Darcy T and communists all in one. So I'm going to give you a Darcy T, Dan the Man Erickson, and Chin Music triple trifecta comment, and then I will get to some of the other ones you guys have. But I have an incredible roster of incredibly powerful information to share with you. So we're going to be fighting and competing for time on the channel. We're at 350 people live. Hit the thumbs up, hit the heart button, right? Hit the repost, hit the share, hit the quote, hit the like, save, share the internet address, get it out to friends. I want them here. We need to top 500 people live tonight. And by the time this video is over, it'll be thousands of people have checked in and out, and they'll come back and they'll watch later. And people will show up for the next week to 3 weeks and listen to this broadcast. So your comments down below and the ones that make it into the topic on the screen will influence the minds and thinking of people. The same way Chin Music influenced the mind of that little young man, little 10-year-old. What's a commie? Hey, mommy, what's a commie? Well, let me tell you, it's someone who is a godless freak who thinks anything you own should be theirs, and they'll kill you to take it. That's a fucking communist. Now, I said I combined their 3 comments. How about Trump kicking ass, tariffs, and communists? Well, Europe, my friends, is socialist. And all a communist is a socialist in a big hurry. So if we talk about socialist, what is a socialist? It's communism light. It's communism with a little bit less murder. So President Trump, when speaking of tariffs about China and Canada and Mexico, President Trump says he will, quote, absolutely impose tariffs on the European Union nations. That's right. Yes. And Trump's press secretary, who is not a curly-haired, moronic, lesbian foreigner, right? She says, yes, starting tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, well, actually it was February 1st, but the first business day will be February 3rd. Mexico, Canada, and China. Tariffs are here. It is on. It is on. And today, right now, is Groundhog Day. That means it's another 6 weeks of Trump blowing Democrats out of the water, scaring foreign nationals, And it's incredible. And folks, it doesn't matter. Now, if Canada wants to talk tough, I'm talking about Canadian politicians, or Mexican politicians want to talk tough, or Chinese politicians want to talk tough, or whether they want to concede and go, sorry, Trump, you were right. We're going to stop this fentanyl thing. No, too late. Fucking tariffs are on. You see the tariffs and drugs, it's all justification for the same thing, which is American protectionism. Every other country is only concerned with itself and getting American money for free. Well, those days are over. We've got bills to pay, folks. And you and I have been suffering under massive inflation because the United States federal government in Washington, D.C. takes your money and sends it overseas and keeps pushing us, and driving us into an SHTF hellhole while letting these foreign scumbags come in here that want to burn our flags and tell us this country belongs to them. Well, fuck them. So Trump says, yeah, absolutely. Europe is going to get its own tariffs. Okay, it is on. It's on. Europe. Now, Trump 1.0, his 2017 to 2020 tenure as president, 45. He told Europe, you will pay your fair share of the NATO military bill. Now they want to kick the United States of America out. Okay, you guys go ahead and pay. Folks, Greenland, I'm going to make a prepared mind prediction. Denmark is going to sell the United States of America Greenland. It's going to be part of a national defense scheme. It is going to be a, shall we say, rare earth, if not precious metals and other precious, valuable resources. It'll be a source of that as well. It's coming, folks. There are a lot of changes that are coming. Are you prepared? And this is incredible. Remember David Hogg? He was supposedly a student, even though he was supposedly also in his 20s, at Parkland High School in Florida, where there was a school shooting back, during Trump's first tenure. And he was part of that, us kids are afraid of guns and we want to get rid of guns. And right, yeah. Well, David Hogg has moved up in his political life. And he has picked up endorsements in the race to become the vice chairman of the Democrat National Committee, the Democrat National Party. And I want David Little Lennon Hogg in charge of the retard party. I do. I strongly recommend that happens. And guess what? It truly has, folks. David Hogg is the newly elected Democrat National Committee vice chairman. And guess what he wants to do? He wants to abolish immigrations and custom enforcement. He wants to defund police. And he wants to designate the National Rifle Association as a terrorist group. Well, why not the Gun Owners of America, the GOA? Why not every patriot group call them a terrorist group, right? I just say, look, David, you little cocksmoker. Did the NRA and its members burn $4.8 billion worth of public and private property? No, they didn't. Did the NRA terrorize police, courthouses, businesses, private residents, and keep them up at night and threaten them with burning their houses and businesses and looting? No, the NRA didn't. So right the fuck off, David, and go make $10 at the Blue Oyster Bar's glory hole. I'm sure you'll do a lot better there and make friends. Folks, it is coming. The enemies of the United States of America are making themselves known. Are you prepared? Oh, good golly. We've got a lot going on, folks. My list is incredibly long. So before I get to more of any of mine, I want you guys to make sure you have liked this video, thumbs up, heart, shared, etc. Get it out to your friends and family. And remember, this is your chance, your opportunity, my opportunity, our opportunity to take this country back. No more games. Look, what Trump is doing in 4 years is amazing, but a Democrat can get reelected and change it right back and start fucking things up again. We need to we've elected Trump. We need to elect more good Republicans. They need to fix the voting system. You must have voter ID, period. You need to be an American citizen, period, to vote. And it needs to, no more machines, paper ballots. And hey, we can take that paper and recycle it and use it again when we're done. How fucking about that, right? Okay, so right now between elections, though, like I said, in 4 years, we're going to do it again. And we'll need to bring in J.D. Vance and Governor DeSantis and other strong pro-America first Republicans. Trump is setting the path. The world is changing. Whether it was Trump or not, there were going to be some incredible changes coming. Trump is trying to put America into its own seat, its own driver's seat. Now, having said that, there's going to be trouble. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Because we're going to have trouble, folks, like it or not. It's coming. It's coming. Now, what do you guys want to talk about? What's on your mind? Hey, and it's our old friend DDG. She's back in the house and she says, hey, John. Hello, John. Hello, DD. I hope you are well. Great hearing from you. And again, I think you were on last week and said hi. It's good to have you back. It's good to have a big smile and friends on our side. Folks, there are so many of us Americans out here. The mainstream media, Hollyweird, satellite media, big tech media, Washington, D.C. politicians, they would like you to believe that we've barely got a majority, that our control is tenuous and it can be done. No. Our control and power is incredible. Right now, you can text, write, comment, phone call politicians in D.C., and I recommend you do it every day and tell them what to do. Obey your oath. Protect the Constitution. Protect America. Stop stealing our money. Right? Tell them. I've done it today. I've written several nasty letters to Chuck Schumer was one of them because he was talking some trash. I was like, dude, you better watch your own ass. You've got trouble coming. Wasn't a threat. It was just an advisement. You better watch your own ass. You are now under investigation. You might need to get used to the idea of jail time. Up Chuck Schumer. Hillary Clinton? Anyone seen her? Yeah, there's going to be some interesting things going on, folks. Interesting things going on. Now, Luke Uman says he's lurking around in the chat a bit. Cool. Here we go. We got Steve Demetrius. He did a $5 Venmo super chat donation. Thank you, Steve Demetrius. He says the recent deadly airspace debacles smell like obfuscated farts. Thoughts? Hey, that's amazing. Weeks ago, during the Biden administration, we had drones, unauthorized aerial phenomena, UFOs, weird shit going on in the air, in New Jersey, in Florida, on the West Coast, everywhere in between. What the fuck was that about? Well, it was research and other stuff the government's doing. We didn't get a straight fucking answer. And now we've got aircraft falling out of the fucking air. A supposed air ambulance that was registered in Mexico crashes in the streets of Philadelphia. Looked more like a missile than a jet to me. But that's conspiracy talk. A Black Hawk helicopter flies directly and straight into a passenger airline in Washington, D.C., an American Airlines plane, and crashes, explodes into the river. There have been numerous airline accidents, fatalities, crashes, etc. Multiple fires in California, again and again and again. And then now in North Carolina. What a fucking shock. In the middle of winter, when it's snowed and rained and it's cold, fire is just going to break out. I'm not buying it. This is terrorism. Now, can a Black Hawk military helicopter be remote controlled like a drone? The answer is yes, it can. Hey, if planes can take off and land on autopilot, why not a fucking helicopter? But it's already been demonstrated. This is not a conspiracy theory. One of the pilots, the last one in question, an LGBTQ rainbow flag fruitcake who worked for President Biden, was the last person to be identified as one of the pilots on the Black Hawk helicopter. Funny, before they released her name, they erased, they scrubbed, they cleaned all of her social media off. So we can't see what she said and who she was saying it to. Isn't that amazing how they can do that, Steve? Fuck us all, right? They don't give a shit about any of us, folks. They really don't. They do not give a shit. Steve, thank you very much for the topic. Important, and we will touch on it again and again and again. Wow. Just freaking wow. It is not going to go away. It's not going to go away, folks. Oh, good golly. Okay. Jolene, who out there wants to talk? Who's got a concept? It is Nick at thepreparedmind.club, which is our flagship website. Folks, we have an incredible network that includes the rsyndicate.com. The rsyndicate.com. We have the club, the preparedmind.club. It's a premium access to this channel. It is a shopping superstore for prepper items. And that's where Nick is a premium member at and where he's coming with this question. He says, excellent info and commentary always. I appreciate the compliment, Nick. I do. I spend an incredible amount of time researching and not bringing you news that's 2, 3, or a fucking week old. I am so sick of seeing people out there with news that's a week old. We try and get it to you literally, folks, before it even comes off the fucking presses. And then we'll bring you opinions and editorializing and sharing your opinions, your thoughts, your predictions, prognostications. So Nick says, thank you all for all your detailed work. It is my pleasure. When I started this channel back in December of 2013, I had been for several months commenting on other people's YouTube and social media. And I was told, hey, look, you seem to have some good thoughts. Why don't you start your own channel? And so I did. And here I am years later, over 10 years later, with multiple social media networks with you guys. We had, but YouTube has killed several of the channels, folks. And I've come back and I fought back with you guys. We had 80,000 plus people on the Prepared Mind, and they killed it. So now we have John the Prepared Mind, and we're at 4,000 people. If you're on John the Prepared Mind, subscribe, because we got a lot more coming. But I'd rather have you on X because it's safer. It's safer. And X, you can make contributions through X, PayPal, Venmo, CashApp to get here on the board. Thank you, Nick, at the club. Now, folks, tariffs. We're going to hear an awful lot about tariffs this week. You're going to hear Democrats screaming and yelling. You're going to hear foreign people screaming and yelling. You're going to hear the media screaming and yelling. Tariffs, folks, equal prosperity for American workers. It will equal woes for other nations. President Trump's efforts are to help America. Now, I have likened fixing the problems. In fact, I went after somebody on social media today who was bitching about the tariffs. That's not going to fix anything. That's going to make things worse. I was like, oh, okay, so practicing more Keynesian economic monetary policy is going to save us, huh? We've been doing that since World War fucking II. We've been doing it even harder and faster since President Nixon in the 70s. And what has happened with our national debt? It has gone like this, straight the fuck up in the last couple of years. And the value of the dollar, what has it done? It's diving and tanking in value because Keynesian economics says, well, if you want prosperity, print more money and give it to people and businesses and banks, and they'll make economic prosperity happen. Then why are we in a recession? Why are we 36 trillion fucking dollars in debt? Why do we have over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities? There's not a big giant room somewhere, folks, stacked from the floor to the ceiling with gold bars and jewels. No, the U.S. Treasury is an empty room with a computer terminal where they type in numbers and say, well, that's how much money we got. Well, unfunded, meaning there's no room full of money. There's no savings account for the $100 trillion of unfunded liabilities, which include military pensions, government pensions, Social Security, Medicare. Every government program that's supposed to have money for it, that's money that's not accounted for. It's going to have to be created out of thin air. There is no treasury full of money. They have lied to us. Now, Al Gore, back in 2020's campaign for president, kept talking about a Social Security lockbox, where everything collected for Social Security would go into a lockbox and it wouldn't be spent. Well, that was a lie then, just as it is now. The money goes into the general fund and then it gets fucking spent. And then some. So the tariffs, prosperity for American workers. The system is changing. We need to remonetize this country with real money. Austrian economics says, if you don't have the money, you can't spend it. And you don't print money out of thin air. It has to be based on something. It's more complicated than that, but it's actually not any more complicated than it needs to be. Keynesian economics relies on borrowing from our grandchildren to pay for our luxuries today. Borrow from our kids, our grandchildren, and great-grandchildren to pay for social programs that are above and beyond our budget and tax collection today. And it's continuing to fail. Now, if they're wasting $1 trillion a year, and it's a lot more than that, folks, it's a lot more. How much better off would we be if over the last 30 years, we didn't blow $1 trillion? Well, hell, we wouldn't have a national debt, would we? Because we're at $36 trillion in the hole. See where we're going with this? It has to change, folks. The dollar is becoming worthless, and the only thing that keeps it of any value is because it's not as bad as all the other currencies. As bad as it is, as bad as it's inflating away, as bad as its purchasing power is just evaporating, it's still better than the other currencies out there. Wild business, folks. We're coming up on the first hour. Getting a little dry here. Woo! Okay. Let's roll, folks. What do you guys want to talk about? What's on your mind? You want to talk about prepping, war, domestic policy, terrorists, stupid politicians, criminals, the good guys, who's going to do what to fix what? You bring up the subjects. Hit the CashApp, Venmo, PayPal button, and that will guarantee you're on the board. I tell you, what an incredible show. What an incredible week. 2 weeks in, and Trump is stomping the liver out of our enemies and our problems. Criminals are running like mad. And Jolene, who's up next? It's Uman. He says, prepared markets just opened, and silver is up $22, and gold is up $8. Well, I appreciate the update on that because I can't watch it currently, brother, as you know. But that is not, well, it's not incredibly unusual. It is unusual because Asian markets typically don't move the price of gold and silver up and down as aggressively as the European and then the American markets do. There's basically 3 sessions throughout the day, folks, Monday through Friday. But yes, we're looking at a gap up on silver and gold, and there should gap up again in Europe. We're over 400 people live right now on all of our networks, and it's going to grow. I want to thank everyone for that. Share the internet address, hit the thumbs up, the heart, the like, the repost, subscribe everywhere, and follow us on X, Twitter. We're also on Rumble. We're also on BitChute if you can find us. There's so much in so many ways, but I think X is really going to be the way to communicate, because I communicate with politicians there, and I don't waste any fucking time, folks. I let them have it. I'm even cussing at them. Now, I'm a little bit bellicose, if you want to say that. I have a very strong opinion because I love this country and I love you guys. I love America. We all do, I know. And it's time to let these fucking people know it's go time, right? Anyways, yeah, gold and silver. Let's keep our eyes open. The tariff on precious metals coming out of Canada and Mexico, as I said, is about 50% of what we bring into this country. That's not enough. There's going to be shortages. And England, which is where everything's being imported in by the ton. Can you imagine buying gold by the ton? I can't afford a fucking ounce of it at almost $3,000 an ounce. They're bringing it in by the ton, gold bars. And London is now out. But I thought they had billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of gold in their vaults. Well, they've sold paper contracts saying they've got it. They say that it's in the vault, but it ain't there. You're going to wait 4 weeks to 8 weeks at this time. Next week, it could be you're going to wait 8 to 12 weeks. 12 to 52 weeks. You're going to have to wait you're going to have to wait till we mine it and process it to get your deliveries. Folks, the shortages are on us. You know what happens? Supply and demand. Supply goes down. Demand is going to go through the roof. The cost will go through the roof. Look the fuck out. All right. Thank you, Mr. Uman, for that update. You can come on back if it changes dramatically up or down. It is going to be a wild roller coaster. There's going to be ups, downs, turns left, right. There's going to be corkscrews. It's going to be crazy. Jolene, who is up next on the Prepared Mind channel? And it's Golf 5 Alpha checking in. And he said, America will no longer be the world's sugar daddy. You bet. Sugar daddy meaning the world wants some money. We ain't just going to hand it out anymore. I love the fact that all of the African nations, the leaders, the politicians and lawyers in Africa were bitching and pissing and moaning and whining. But a former president for the nation of Kenya told them to shut up. Literally stood up in front of them and said, America doesn't owe you anything. What makes you think you deserve America's wealth? Take care of yourselves. It was a brilliant speech. Thank you, Golf 5 Alpha, for that. Now, I told you a lot of people are getting fired. So the scumbag Democrat so-called prosecutor, his name is Andrew Weissman. You may have heard of this corrupt piece of shit in the past. Well, he's losing his shit. He's having a meltdown. And he's trying to fire back at Trump, who is going scorched earth on these assholes. He fired dozens of career FBI officials. And Andrew Weissman tried saying, and here's his quote, "It's illegal. It's against the law." Oh, so the chief executive officer, the president, he can hire people. He can create bureaucracies, but he can't fire them. He can't destroy bureaucracies. You see, all the Democrats, the socialists, the communists want is bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger government. They want it to be all-encompassing, all-powerful. And they say it can never get small. It can never go away. It can never be, well, unless you're a Democrat who doesn't like police, then you can defund the police, right? And you can get rid of immigrations and custom enforcement. You can get rid of Border Patrol. You can get rid of the Department of Homeland Security, which also is a newer, more made-up bullshit department. but you can't get rid of, you can't fire the bureaucrats. They don't like that. Well, folks, it's showtime. Andrew Weissman better watch his own ass. I'm sure he has stepped over the line, if you want to use that expression, a couple of times. Now, I want to get into a little bit more detail with you guys over the Treasury official, right? This clown, right? Elon Musk and the Doge team, guess what they discovered? That the United States Treasury, the United States government, was funding terrorist organizations. Funding terrorist organizations. So they tried getting in there, and this clown, this Treasury clown, resigns. Now, I seem to remember, and I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. Do you remember months ago before the election, American politicians, I don't know, maybe someone like Marge Taylor Greene or Matt Gaetz, perhaps, there were television and media personalities saying the United States government is the biggest human trafficker on the planet. The United States government is the biggest funder of terror organizations around the world. Remember when we had Benghazi and we were told that, well, we're selling weapons out of Libya and shipping them into Syria for Al-Qaeda to fight against Bashar al-Assad. And we're like, Al-Qaeda? Why is the United States government giving Al-Qaeda weapons? Oh, no, this is the good Al-Qaeda. How the fuck is that possible? Terror groups are good? Oh, if they're doing our bidding. Oh, yeah, until they get out of fucking control. But, yeah, various leaders in media, in government, said the biggest funder of terrorism, the biggest funder of human trafficking of children is the United States government. It sounded so fantastic, so crazy, so unfucking believable. But in the back of my head, I knew it was fucking true. My heart, my guts told me, yeah, I bet it's fucking true. And guess what? My head, my heart, and my gut were right, and so were you. Because now we have proof that the United States Treasury, through USAID and other government operations, are handing not hundreds, not thousands. They're handing millions and even billions of dollars to terror organizations. You know who else they were funding? They were also funding, get this, drum roll please, they were funding nonprofit organizations to fly, truck, transport illegals into this country as well as other nations. The Catholic Church, the Lutheran Church. Remember that fruity bitch? I'm going to call her a bitch. At that church that tried criticizing Trump and his family and J.D. Vance and his family. The fruitcake LGB rainbow bishop. Yeah. Got like $50 million. And what are these churches, these charities doing with it? They're giving money to terrorists. They're feeding terrorists. They're clothing terrorists. They're transporting terrorists. They're getting phones and technology to terrorists. And you and I were being forced to fucking pay for it with our tax dollars. By the way, that money is now dry. No more. It gets fucking better. But wait, there's more. I miss Billy Mays, folks. I miss him. I miss Billy Mays. But wait, there's more. Will live on forever. Voldemort Zelensky. That's right. The little skinny jeans wearing. Shorter than average by far. Light in the loafers, belly dancing, sausage smoking fruitcake of a leader in Ukraine. Went on international media and said, we've only gotten $57 billion out of the $200+ billion that the United States said they were giving us. Where the fuck is the money? Where did the money go? Who has the money? What is being done with the money? I mean, look, whether you're watching Austin Powers or James Bond, every time I've watched one of these movies, I'm, where do these international criminal cartels, where do they get the money to hollow out a volcano, to put in a secret lair or an underground base? Where do they get the money to do the thing? Now we know where they get the fucking money. The government funds criminal organizations. And it's not just a fucking movie. It's not a joke. They are literally stealing our money and using it to try and destroy our countries, steal our freedoms, break us, in other words. Fuck. Unbelievable. You know, when Putin did his special military operation, and he said, we're going to denazify Ukraine. 90% of the world denazify Ukraine. Pff, went right over their fucking heads. They didn't even hear it. They didn't even recognize. What do you mean Nazis denazify? What he was saying is the Ukraine military, the Ukraine government has Nazi, that is to say, fascist, socialist, murderous military components in their country. The world just fucking ignored it. It's real. They're there, the Azov Battalion. There have been Nazis in Ukraine since World War II that are still there. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. All right, let's do this. Jolene has informed me we've got a super chat donation. And when you do a super chat donation, you're on the board with your question. I'll make you famous. And we've got a PayPal donation. This is how you can get on, folks. PayPal, CashApp, Venmo. These are how you do it. It's just like any other CashApp, PayPal, or Venmo action. It just goes and it comes right on through. Good times. Anyways, we'll put that back up after this. We got a a $50 donation or more gets me a delicious Glenlivet 15-year single malt Scotch whiskey in a bottle. I'll pour a nice one of those. Was feeling a little dry, Dan. This is Dan the man. Here we go. All righty, my good sir. Another $50 PayPal. One of the just thank you, man. We can't do this without you guys. We're at 425 people live. I want you to share, and get other people on here with us. But Dan, can't do it without you and others like you. You guys know who you are. You support this channel quietly from behind the scenes. Mother's milk. Dan says Kash Patel said he will investigate the Epstein crimes. That should be very juicy, and I will bet Bill Gates is very worried. Bill Gates is extremely worried. Bill Gates has taken numerous steps in an effort to seek amnesty, if you will. He flew in to see President Trump at Mar-a-Lago, basically letting President Trump know, hey, you don't need to be doing anything with that. Bill Gates has gone on the media, mainstream media, done interviews and said, I met with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted pedophile who was arrested again after that conviction for all of the child sex prostitution, child sex trafficking in general, at his little St. James Island in the Caribbean. Bill Gates came on and said, we just met and talked about our philanthropical ideas, philanthropy, giving money away. Bill Gates has made more. He hasn't given away as much as he makes. If he spent a fucking $1 million a day, Bill Gates won't lose any money. It's unfucking believable how much money that clown has. His philanthropies have caused sterilizations, deaths. They have spread disease because he is all about euthanasia. And I don't mean the youth in Asia. Euthanasia meaning killing people. And folks, Canada is about that also. The Canadian government, not the good people, but the Canadian government. Like we have Boomer on here every week. Boomer 21 up in Canada. Not that. The Canadian government, if you've got an illness, they'll say, okay, well, we can put you on a waiting list for your operation, or we can just kill you right away. That is euthanasia. Euthanize. To put to sleep, to put to death. You can select government-assisted suicide. Right? Bill Gates is very worried, folks. I believe you are absolutely correct, Dan. Kash Patel, during his hearing, said that he is going to investigate the Epstein client list. That client list needs to be public. We need to see who it is. So let me get this. Somebody financed Jeffrey Epstein so he could stop molesting little girls and underage women in America. They financed and purchased an island. And on that island, they built numerous buildings, underground facilities, like you can't believe, folks. And then he started flying on his Lolita Express, a jet. He started flying important judges, politicians, law enforcement, ex-presidents like Bill Clinton, ex-presidential candidates, Secretary of State, First Ladies like Hillary Clinton, Supreme Court Justice John Roberts, P. Diddy, Tom Hanks, other celebrities out of Hollywood, royalty out of Europe, like the Prince of England, not King, used to be Prince Charles, but his brother, Prince Andrew, was a good friend and visitor of Little St. James Island. Corporate and banking billionaires went down to the Epstein Island, Little St. James. You think they were there buying Girl Scout cookies from those little girls on that island? They were paying big money to go down there and enjoy themselves. You think they did nice, wonderful, lovely things for those little girls? Were they there to fund their college scholarships? No. Those people on the Epstein client list were doing very nasty things. So let's see. We arrested the guy who owned the island. They arrested Ghislaine Maxwell, the Israeli daughter of the Mossad, partner of Jeffrey Epstein, procurer of young girls to bring to that island. But they won't release the names of everyone who literally funded it with their money? Out fucking rageous. Kash Patel had best get that list and get it out. There better be some fucking people perp walked once they're investigated, arrested. This needs to stop. A satanic sex abuse and sacrifice cult that has been around for thousands of years. It needs to be stopped. Folks, this is not new. It's not just back into Renaissance times. It's not just back into medieval times. It's not just a European thing. I mean, look at Islam, the Muslim religion. Muhammad married a 9-year-old girl. That's fine. Hey, yeah, sure, fine, great. Up in Europe, right? The Muslims up there think it's fine to rape women. 250,000 underage British white girls, and I'm sure some other skin tones as well, who aren't Muslim, were raped in the last 10 years. And who is sanctioning it, allowing it? The British government. Why is that? There are so many royalty and friends of royalty throughout England and, of course, Europe as well. Folks, they're all dirty scumbags. I think it's high time that this be exposed and they put a fucking end to it. That morality and human decency becomes not just law of the land on paper, but practiced by our government. I think that we can do this. And as long as we're chasing them with handcuffs and guns and badges, these lawless, evil fuckers will keep running instead of turning and hurting people. We're at 450 people live, folks. That is awesome. Share the internet address. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following. Make sure you repost, thumbs up, heart, share. Do it. Let's get the word out, folks. It is going to be amazing what happens over the next few weeks. Now, remember this thing about Trump being a Russian asset? Russia. Once congressman who was censored for lying to the American people. Piece of shit, should have been thrown out of fucking Congress for that. Now he's a senator. Adam Shifty Schiff, pencil neck, bug-eyed, butt pirate Schiff. What are you going to say about Trump now? Trump is saying that he's going to have very serious discussions with Russia. And he and Putin may soon take some, quote, very significant actions. Are you for or against Trump meeting with Vladimir Putin, discussing the problems between our nations and on this planet, and trying to mend defenses, trying to get along, find common ground, stop being at war, and become less warlike? The same way we are less warlike with China, and then less warlike with Europe, and then our closest allies and neighbors, Canada and Mexico. Right? We don't have to be at war with somebody. We may not like their language or their looks. We may not like their laws. We may not like their military. That doesn't mean we have to be at war fucking constantly. So I am for Russia talking to Putin and making deals happen. Russia is an incredible nation, folks. Geographically, it is just chock full of natural resources. Once again, energy, raw materials. Incredible, folks. Incredible. Meanwhile, you guys, it's your turn. We're an hour and 20 minutes in on this Sunday Night Live. Tomorrow, the tariffs start in the markets, and let's see what the hell is coming next. Jolene, who wants to step on up, ask a question, make a comment, a prediction? And it's the Courageous Cat, who is none other than Darcy T, by the way. That's her ex moniker. She says the state of Texas has a cool way of ensuring that bureaucracy is kept to a minimum. If a new organization is put into place, it has an expiration date, at which time the organization has to be reviewed to see if it is still needed. Brilliant. On top of that, Courageous Cat, I did see a post on social media today with someone saying, we need a DOGE in Texas, a Department of Government Efficiency at the state level. And I don't know why they can't do that. Once they, let's just use the term, perfect how to audit government, find waste, and eliminate it together. Done. For example, Trump said, look, for every new regulation a federal bureaucracy wants to put out, they have to remove 10. You want a new one to make things better? Get rid of 10 that are just in the fucking way. That's great, brilliant. So, Texas, yeah, this is it's wonderful. But still, there is corruption. I think the things need to be, as you said, reviewed to see if it's still needed. They need to go and review ones that are out there. And instead of the government going, oh, yeah, we love that. That's a great bureaucracy over there. Yeah, that's a great, we love that. How about an independent auditing organization like Department of Government Efficiency that is truly independent, truly has the people's best interest at heart, can go in and go, this thing's a fucking waste. Look at all the money that they're wasting and throwing away. Where did it go? We can't find it. They just took the money. It disappeared. And put government on notice that you will be held accountable. And if a crime has been committed, you go to fucking jail. No more games, folks. No more. Right? Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency goes in and they locked government workers out of federal computer systems that were responsible for hiring and for payroll. Right? Trump is overhauling the bullshit. Right? They want to lock their computers so they can't be audited. They're getting locked out of their offices. They're being literally met with security and walked out. I couldn't be happier. And yes, Texas, this model is excellent. And even that can be improved on. I'm not making fun. I'm not putting down God bless Texas. I love Texicans. My mom was born in Corpus Christi. She lived in Texas for the last 20 years. I've never lived in Texas, but I love Texans. Look, and other states have great ideas. Florida and many other states are trying to make gold and silver money again. Texas, I believe, has a precious metals state depository. This whole idea of going to central bank digital currencies, in other words, a social media, social credit score application tied to a currency which is manufactured out of thin air and has no basis in reality, but can be taken from you if you don't do what they say. We're going the other way, folks. Not a one world bureaucratic electronic fucking currency system, but the world is going and splitting apart. Not globalist, but nationalist. Not fake bullshit money, but money that's based on something. I love it. Thank you, Courageous Cat, very much. We need more deregulation. We need more regulation on government. We don't need regulation, right? Keep it real and keep it honest. You don't get to destroy the environment. You don't get to pollute the water. But you should be allowed to get resources, energy, and the things needed so that America can produce its own sustain its own economy, produce its own goods. Right? All of these bureaucrats, by the way, that are being fired in Washington, D.C., lawyers, FBI, other bureaucratic assholes. We were told, that who's going to pick our blueberries if we get rid of all of the illegal immigrants? Oh, I think I just found a job for all those bureaucrats in Washington. You guys can go pick the blueberries and the tomatoes and the lettuce. You can mow the lawns of America that are no longer going to be mowed. In fact, you know what? This was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Some fucking foreigner, some south of the border ass lick on social media who has like 1 million followers from the Hispanic community said, hey, man, we need to tell America we're not going to do what they want. And since you pissed us off, we're not going to buy your stuff no more. Oh, okay. I tell you what, you fucking people, don't spend your money. You're still going to get thrown out of the fucking country. You're not going to make a lick of fucking difference. Not a lick of fucking difference. You want to boycott America? Get the fuck out. Folks, if they can speak through social media, they can be found through social media. In fact, some dumbass in Texas, by the way, said, I'm here, man. I think he was in Houston. I'm here in Houston. Come and get me. Guess who went, knocked on his fucking door? Immigrations and Customs Enforcement and said, hey, we're outside. They fucking answered his social media back. We're here. We're outside. It's happening, folks. It's not just a bunch of bullshit. Trump is doing what he said. Trump is doing what he said. In England, folks, over the past week now, over 100,000 English, British, Christian people, patriots, have been marching in London, around London, demanding that Tommy Robinson be free. They are playing on loudspeakers YMCA. They want to make England great again. Mega, MEGA, mega England, make England great again. YMCA in honor of President Trump and America's success. How is it that so many people in England, Canada, Mexico, and other nations around the world love America, while at the same time, their politicians are cursing America and cursing Trump? Because the governments around the world are not interested in the people and what the people need. They're interested in their globalist, anti-human agenda. And the people have had enough of this shit. By the way, just a few weeks ago in England, the streets were covered in, well, people flying Pakistani flags, Palestinian flags, jihad flags, wearing their keffiyehs and talking a bunch of shit. Guess what? With this many patriotic English people, the jihad Joes, they're hiding. They're not getting in the way, folks. There's going to be a massive showdown. It's going to happen. It has to happen. You can't have so many people at each other's throats and in each other's faces. But who belongs in England? Well, not Jihad Joe. They have their own country, their own region of the world, where they came from, where they've existed for thousands of years, and they don't need to be in Europe, in America, in Canada. They don't need to be. No. No, 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 and no. It fucking needs to end. But we're going to have fighting back and forth, folks. The fighting is going to happen. Before I get to what I'm talking about, I want to know what is on your mind. Your mind. And Chin Music, you're sending me text messages and emails. I can't get to them, man. I'm doing the show. Jolene, who wants to say something? Who's got something to say? And it's Redneck Roughneck. And a roughneck, folks, is one of those big, burly, redneck Texans, Okies, Dakotans. They get up on these nasty-ass oil derricks, rigs, and they start putting pipe down a hole and finding our energy. Redneck Roughneck says, why is Social Security that we fund every payday, why is Social Security always going broke, but welfare is never in danger of going broke? Well, because it's a fucking lie. It's all a fucking lie. You see, the government wants to go, well, you have to pay taxes. But well, we have this social program called Social Security. We want some Social Security. And now we want to do Social Security disability because some people get disabled. So that's another tax on top. They don't want to just say, here's your tax and it's bigger and it keeps getting bigger. So they add these little taxes on there. Little taxes. And if you're self-employed, you're double taxed. Did you know that? Double taxed if you're self-employed. Anyways, they want to say that Social Security is going broke to scare people. That's it, redneck. That's it. They want to scare old people. And who promises old people the most? Now, when you're young like you, powerful like you, smart like you, capable and not old and feeble, retired and tired and incapable, you're like, fuck you, government. I'll go out and make my money and I'll make my way. But when you're old and scared and you don't know what's going on because the government's continually lying. Remember, right now, the people that are retired in their 70s and 80s and 90s, and even some people in their fucking 60s, they believe what the television says. They believe ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, CNN. They believe it. So when they're told that, well, and Social Security's going broke, It's going broke. Back in 2008, they needed $1 trillion. They printed it like that. One button keystroke, $1 trillion. They bailed out. They gave that money, $1 trillion, to the banks. Okay, you guys are no longer insolvent. You're not going to crash. They just fucking made the money up out of thin fucking air and saved the banks, except Lehman Brothers and a couple others. But they're going to be like, oh, Social Security, we don't have enough money for that. Well, we're all paying into it every day, every week, every month, every year, our entire lives. And they keep threatening that we're going to go broke. But they got money for welfare, as you pointed out. They got money to give to Ukraine. They got money to give to Israel. They got money to give to all these African nations. They got money to subsidize Mexico, money to subsidize Canada, money to subsidize Australia, and any other country they want to subsidize. Subsidize NATO? You bet. But stuff we want, well, the government's going to be shut down. We're going to close national parks. We're going to close this. We're going to close that. We're going to take this away from you. We're going to take that away from you. But they got all the fucking money in the world to give to their friends, to give to themselves. They'll threaten grandma and grandpa to take their Social Security. Why? So they vote for bigger spending. So they vote for Democrats. And they vote for weak Republicans who are like, don't worry, grandma and grandpa. We're going to fuck everyone else to take care of you. Right? Whoever promises the most giveaways, which is why the government is not supposed to be in the business of giving away other people's money. Your money, my money, Redneck Roughneck's money, Jolene's money, Ooman's money. They take our money from us at the point of a gun. We're from the IRS. We're here to help. Give us your fucking money. And then they take your money and they give it to someone else. And if there's not enough money, they just print some more. And we go into bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger national debt. It's a fucking scheme. Now, if we go to a gold-backed, resource-backed, energy-backed, whatever-backed currency that's based off of, say, GDP, gross domestic product, something of value, there's only so much money that the government is going to collect. And if they're told you can't spend more than that, because you can't just print money out of thin air, we go back into a Bretton Woods style system. Getting a little parched. We're at 90 minutes, folks. We're going to go 2 hours or more. We're going to go, the money systems failed. Bretton Woods was the monetary system that was developed and devised after World War II, where all the countries of Europe were fucking broke. We had the Marshall Plan to rebuild, but currencies were shit. Gold was all over the place. The Nazis were throwing it in fucking lakes, holes in the ground. The Swiss were burying it, of course. Everyone was afraid that the Soviet Union was going to come after them, so they sent their money to New York to keep it in the vaults there. The United States of America kept their gold in Fort Knox. Right? It's a big shit show. But they said, look, we need a world reserve currency, one currency that works around the world and is understood, accepted, and loved, and that's the U.S. dollar. And the U.S. dollar was backed by gold. So there's only so many dollars because there's only so much gold. 8,700 odd tons of gold that the U.S. held on its own. All the other countries had their own gold as well. And if you wanted, if you're another country, you could take American dollars, a pallet of them, and take it to the Federal Reserve and trade that for gold. It's called the gold window. It was convertible to gold until the world realized, and it was Charles de Gaulle of France, realized they're like, there's a lot more dollars out here than there is gold. Right? He did some computing with an adding machine, right? The old machines. If you've ever seen one, right? Paper comes out of it and fucking numbers and shit. Not computer, mechanical computers. And they realize there's a lot more dollars than there is gold. So they started very quietly sending boats, literal ships, over to America with US dollars, dumped them off and said, give us the gold. And they started hauling the gold back to France. And the US government in 1971 realized the gig was up. So Nixon said, no more gold. We're temporarily closing the gold window. And gold was no longer, or the dollar was no longer backed by gold, but rather by America's willingness to kick the fuck out of somebody in war for oil. We got the petrodollar. But from 1970-ish to 1982, the whole world, including the United States of America, was in economic turmoil because we switched monetary systems. We went over to nothing-based money. Nothing-based money. The money's value is based on America's willingness to go fuck someone up over oil. And we have lots of wars to prove that we were willing to do that. But they've inflated or rather continued to inflate away the value of money. The value goes down, the amount of dollars goes up until the system collapses. And a typical fiat currency lasts about 45 years. With the magic of computers and media bullshit, the United States dollar has made it 54 years without being gold-backed. But it is failing. And here we are. Everyone's getting their gold back. They're buying the gold. Meanwhile, morons are doing stupid things with money. But governments, banks, and wealthy people are buying gold by the ounce, by the bar, and by the ton. All right. Thank you, Redneck Roughneck. Always a great topic. And F Home 2C says, you cannot print your way to prosperity, but you can print your way to poverty. The casino has been rigged against the people. Not only the banking and the monetary rigging, but investment rigging. There's another tax on top of every other tax, by the way, there, Roughneck Redneck. It's called inflation. If you put $100,000, say, in above and beyond cash that you've saved in the bank, and inflation is 10% over the course of a year, that next calendar year, guess what? Your money's now only worth $90,000. 10% inflation means you've lost 10% in purchasing power. So without doing anything wrong, without the government passing a tax, you've had $10,000 taken from you. The number's the same, but the purchasing power is gone. It is an invisible, silent fuck you tax. And that's what this casino is. It's rigged against us. And then you put your money in Wall Street and you're like, I'm going to make a bunch of money investing. And you put your money there and the banks steal it. They run up the market, right? They run up the value, run it up, and then they crash it. You lose 10, 20, 50% of your value. And you're like, hey, it's okay. I'm gonna just leave it in there and it'll start going back to work again, and they crash it. We have a boom and a bust, and a boom and a bust. And whenever it busts, you lose. And you wait years for it to boom back up, and then it busts. How many times have you seen this in your lives? I saw it in the early 90s, the dot-com bubble of 2001, the 2008 great financial crisis, and we're in the midst of one right now. They keep talking about the possibility, the very real possibility of a stock market correction, and we are in the everything bubble. Everything bubble. Are you prepared? The banks don't want to take credit or responsibility. They don't want to be held accountable. Neither does the government. So who's going to be held accountable? Who's going to pay? Well, we always pay. We always get fucked the most. Your one insurance policy against getting absolutely raped and robbed is to keep your wealth stored that has no counterparty risk, no banker, no Bernie Madoff, no Sam Bankman-Fried, no Michael Saylor, no bullshit artists, no government. If you own your gold or silver, they can fuck the market up, they can fuck the dollar up, but this will always be 1 troy ounce. And it will always have value because it always has. It always has use or utility, usefulness, and purpose, unlike paper dollars, which can become worth less, if not outright worthless. And anyways, great topic. And speaking of government and fucking things up, I want to remind everyone that the deep state is not just going to give up and go away. They're not all going to go hide under rocks. In fact, remember Project Veritas? The guy who ran that and owned it was James O'Keefe. So the former Project Veritas man, James O'Keefe, he's still out there doing the same thing. And he has an undercover video they made of a Department of Homeland Security official. And this official or agent let James O'Keefe know that the Department of Homeland Security plans to defy the new Department of Homeland Security boss, Kristi Noem. That's right. Kristi Noem is in charge of the Department of Homeland Security. Trump has appointed her, and they have plans, strategy, and they're going to defy her orders, which are Trump's orders. They need to go to jail. They're too fucking stupid. They're too arrogant. And that's what I keep learning about these Democrats is they think they're smarter than you. They think they're better than us. They think they know better. They think they can be sneaky and tricky and fuck everyone. Are you prepared, folks? Because there could be some asshole somewhere that's got a light switch and he can turn out our lights. That'll teach those Republicans, those Trumpers. They can hack the banking system. Hell, China just hacked, before she left, the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's computer. Yep. They can cause all kinds of trouble, folks. And that's not even counting all the fires they can set. All of the terrorist attacks that they can do. There's so much that is going to happen here. And it's great to see federal government employees revealing to media sources on our side that they're going to fuck us all over. I don't know why they're not being prosecuted. They need to be prosecuted. They really do. Okay, Mr. O'Keefe, release the video. You get your credit. He should be rewarded with big cash bonuses from the federal government for showing and finding these fucking morons that are doing everything they can to destroy our country, folks. In fact, you know what? This is brilliant. The Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who has been confirmed, yes, he has essentially fired the mainstream media. The New York Times, NPR, Politico, NBC News, out. They no longer have offices, exclusive access inside the Pentagon. They have been evicted. No longer is the media, Operation Mockingbird with the CIA, to work with the Pentagon to fuck us all over and lie to us the way they have been. Now, of course, apparently, military pilots are going to just crash their fucking helicopters into jets. Just the DEI, folks. The DEI is just crazy. Right? Diversity, equity, inclusion. Diversity is our strength. The fuck it is. You know what's strong? You know what's strength? Negotiating from a position of strength. That's what. Did you know that Panama, this is just before the show started, I got word of this, that Panama was told, hey, guess what? You are not going to fuck around with our Panama Canal anymore. You have violated the terms and gave China too much control, too much power over the canal, and we're going to take it back. And Panama tried talking some shit, and then guess what? They bent. Senator Marco Rubio, former senator, now Secretary of State, went down there and played hardball, and Panama gave in. That's how serious this is, folks. The Panama Canal is not a small item. It is necessary to the security of our state, our government, national security. It's necessary to our trade, both incoming and exportation. It's incredible, folks. Trump is making a massive difference. What do you guys think? What's on your mind? We got about 15 minutes to go here on Sunday Night Live. And folks, I've got so much more to talk about. So much more. And I can't wait, but I want to hear what you guys want to talk about as well. If you want to be guaranteed to get up on screen, right, then all you need to do is a super chat donation to CashApp, Venmo, or PayPal. And guess what? Heidi checks in with a $50 CashApp super chat donation to the Prepared Mind channel. And she says this, keep on keeping on. That's how I know it's Heidi for sure also. $50 super chat, Heidi. Thank you so much. And Jolene, keep an eye out for anything Heidi wants to say or talk about. She's always been in the background too, Heidi. And I'm glad you're feeling better and that everything went well, Heidi. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Wink, wink, wink. Oh, it's good stuff. Mother's milk. My gosh. And you can smell... I love Scotch whiskey, folks. The Scots, I just love them. It is aged in a French oak wine barrel. And you can smell the wine as a beautiful bouquet. It doesn't affect the flavor so much, but it's just what a great beverage. And it keeps the joints loose. I've been lifting a lot of weights again lately, getting in great shape, folks. I'm feeling it. I'm on a keto diet. Ketosis, burning fat, and I'm loving it. I'm feeling better. Chin music, of course, is inspiring me as well. You guys inspiring me with everything. Thank you very much, Heidi, for that great super chat donation. And Jolene will find your comments somewhere. Unless you just wanted to go with keep on keeping on, and I will. All right, Jolene, who's up next? We've got Michael Rondo. And he says, Trump is trying to get things aligned to help poor people. Just the word taxes with no taxes on tips should show that he cares and he's concerned for all Americans. I like that. I don't think there should be taxes on tips. I also don't think there should be taxes on my labor. What they call income taxes. You know who makes income? Corporations make an income. Income means profit. If I am worth $50 an hour to a company or another human, and I work for 1 hour at $50 an hour, it is a fair exchange. They got an hour of labor. I got an hour's worth of money. There is no profit, therefore no income. The 16th Amendment is a sham, using that as an excuse to fuck you out of your money. But guess what? You want to fight that game in court? You won't win. They'll show up with a badge and a gun and put your ass in jail. But in definition, your wage is not income. For the purposes of taxation, income means profit. An exchange of labor for money is not a profitable transaction. It's a fair exchange, like barter. I trade you an apple for a pear. You get the apple, I get the pear. No, there's no profit to tax. But they've been taxing the fuck out of us, have they not? So Trump is like, all right, if you make tips, we're not going to tax you on that. Great. Quit fucking taxing me then, too. I have bills. I have a life. I don't like being fucking poor. Just because I'm not a bartender or a fucking waiter doesn't mean that I don't deserve a fucking break. In fact, I really want Trump. Seriously, I want Trump to give us a retroactive tax cut. for our 2024 taxes. I want my fucking money back. We should all write Trump, the White House, the IRS, our congressmen, our senators, and say, we want retroactive tax cuts. Government, give us our money back. Let us spend it into the economy. Spend it where we want, to reward what businesses we want, for what goods we want, what services we want. The government is busy what? Sending our money out of the fucking country, giving it to bankers who then don't loan it out to us. I think Trump is doing a fantastic job, Michael. I agree. But there's so much more he can be doing for all of us. I don't like cherry picking a special group. Why do waiters and waitresses get a tax cut and I don't? Why do bartenders get a tax cut and I don't? Can I go to someone who is employing me and say, I no longer want a paycheck. I want a big, fat tip. So it's not taxed. In fact, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to try that at tomorrow's meeting. I'm going to go to the owner of the company and I'm going to say, I don't want to be paid anymore. I don't want to be a W-2 employee. I want a tip every week. Tip me. And he's going to say, John, I need you to shut the fuck up. Okay, it's going to happen. I'll fucking say it. I will definitely say the words. By the way, I'm gonna call back to Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense or Defense Secretary, whatever you want to call it. He has canceled identity months. He says, we're not joking around. DEI is gone. Playtime for fruitcakes is over. No more Pride Month. No more this pride and that pride and black pride and white pride and brown. Oh, there's no white pride. Christian pride, there's no Christian pride. No more fruitcake pride month. No one gets a special fucking month. Your job, working for the Department of Defense, through the Pentagon and the branches of service, are here for one fucking purpose: to protect America. You do so by killing people and breaking things. And if you're not killing people and breaking things, you're training to kill people and break things. We're not joking around. I love it. It is fucking go time. It is business time. And speaking of business, President Trump says that they're going to do military airstrikes on ISIS. They're killing ISIS members. Where at? Over in the Middle East. What was it? The Houthis in Somalia? They sunk fucking ships under Biden's watch. And Biden did nothing. Not a fucking thing. Oh, wait a minute. I bet he sent them money. The message to terrorists from Trump is, quote, we will find you and we will kill you. We will find you and we will kill you. I think that ships are going to stop being attacked in the Middle East, and that cargo ships and oil tankers will be able to travel through the Persian Gulf, through the Indian Ocean, along the African coast, through the Suez Canal, without being fucking molested by a bunch of barbaric turban heads who have gotten enough technology to fuck with people. Oh, it needs to happen. It really needs to happen. And it is happening, folks. It's absolutely happening, and I'm loving every second of it. Oh, the gangs in Venezuela? Trump's not joking around there either. No. The gangs are out of this country. Venezuelan has agreed. They gave in to Trump. Venezuela has agreed to transport and receive all Venezuelan illegal aliens, including the gang members from the Tren de Aragua guys. I'm still waiting for them in the great state of Florida. They're here somewhere. I've heard they're basically over in the Orlando area. Why don't they go to Gainesville and try fucking with rednecks? Go to Gainesville, you dumb fucks, and try it. Anyways, Venezuela's decided they're going to take them back. Well, it's not like you really had any choice. Same with Colombia, Panama, Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador. Belize, take your scum back, Mexico. All right, Jolene, who wants to step up? We've got just a few minutes left, and we've got Trucker Hershey checking back in. I haven't heard from you in a little while, Trucker. Good to see you, man. He says, my only question each night when I go to bed, quote, in his head, will the grid be down when I wake up? We don't know. Will the grid be down? Will banks be down? Will the airlines be down? Will bridges be down? That's why you need to be absolutely prepared. I had an idiotic, retarded family member criticize me a week and a half ago and say, this prepping stuff is stupid. And I'm like, well, do you enjoy those generators I set up to protect your family when power goes out because of earthquakes, snowstorms, fires, stupidity in California? Shut the fuck up. I can't wait to see this person in person at my son's wedding. They're going to get a fucking earful from me. Being prepared is incredibly important. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. I had another friend. They had a medical condition. It became apparent on Friday night there was an issue. They didn't and couldn't afford to go to the emergency room on the weekend and spend $5,000 fucking dollars. So they did their research. They said, this is the antibiotic we need. They had the antibiotic because they were preppers. They took care of the medical problem, saved thousands of dollars, a lot of pain and discomfort, and put their minds at ease, being prepared. Here in Florida, hurricanes, tornadoes even here. Yeah, there's tornadoes too, right? Flooding or surge on the ocean from hurricanes. It doesn't even have to hit. It can just go by and flood the fuck out of you. California had an active volcano, earthquakes, fires, and blizzards. And people there are like, I don't know why you live in Florida. It's crazy. It's crazy, I tell you. You guys got hurricanes. I'm like, have you seen what you guys have? Fuckheads. Anyways, everywhere in the country, we've all got something that puts us at risk, as well as fucking illegal terrorists and Democrats and communists, for fuck's sake, and governments that overtax us and banks that steal. We got all kinds of stuff, but you can be prepared. You can have a generator backup. You can have the battery backup. You can have solar power, hand crank radios for emergencies, lights. Get prepared. It is so critical. Thank you, Trucker Hershey, very much. Jolene, I think we got time for one more here. What do we want to say? It's Tom Bragalone, or is it Bragalone? He says, please explain how Trump using the military here could affect the Posse Comitatus Act. Well, there's been a lot of misunderstandings on our part as citizens over the last 30 fucking years, which is the Posse Comitatus Act. The idea of the military being used on our territory inside the country. It's not supposed to be allowed. There's certain circumstances where it is allowed. And what we don't want is the United States military being used as a police force against the people, me and you. That's what the sheriffs are about. That's what police departments are supposed to be for. We don't want military which is trained to see an enemy and shoot them. That's their job. Their job is not to police. To police or be a peacekeeper, the constabulary, a sheriff or sheriff's deputy, is to see someone who's fucking up, committing a crime, to notify them to stop, to arrest them, to give them an arraignment, which is to tell them what they've done wrong in court, to ask them to plead guilty or not, to face charges and have a jury, right? And then to have that jury decide whether they're guilty or not and what the punishment will be. That's the criminal justice system, which is not the military justice system. The military's job is to kill things and break people. Shock that, break people and kill things. No, kill people and break things, and all the above. Anyways, so posse comitatus. What if Russia invaded our country? What if Russia came down through Alaska, started pouring through Canada and into Washington, Idaho, Montana, and they wanted to come down into Oregon, California, Utah? We would want our military to kick the ever-loving fuck out of them. We would want the Army, the Marine Corps, the Air Force. We would expect the Navy to support offshore and just fuck them up. But they're not supposed to be used for domestic law enforcement. Now, what is Trump wanting to use them for? Well, National Guard is part of the military. But they're also in the states. You have state National Guard, and they fall under the national umbrella of the National Guard system. They get used for emergencies like hurricane, tornado relief. And they've been brought out for riots. And Trump is now using them to secure the border down in Mexico. Great. They're not policing Americans. They're stopping an invasion. I find it to be an effective use of the military for both training purposes, etc. They're going to get paid no matter what. They may as well get paid to do something like protect the country. Now, the people who are inside the country enforcing federal immigration law and finding federal criminals, national criminals who have come across illegally, and they're being rounded up by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, Border Patrol, La Migra, right? Marshals, U.S. Marshals, and other federal law enforcement agents and agencies, even the Department of Corrections. I have a family member who is a federal law enforcement officer, and he is very happy and excited about the opportunity to get these fucking scumbags out of the country. They are law enforcement on the federal level. They are not military. So they're getting the job done, and everyone has their methods and their means. So it is being handled. The Posse Comitatus Act is not a thank you very much, Jolene. We'll get to it. We have another super chat donation, and I said I would get to it for certain. Absolute for certain. Now, the Posse Comitatus Act is not a bona fide, ironclad piece of legislation that guarantees the military will not be used. That's kind of how it was originally talked about when we started having problems with President Shitstain Clinton, right? But we found out, no, there's exceptions and there's ways around it, etc. As far as I'm concerned, I don't like the military policing people. I know what the military is there for. So that said, great topic, and I hope that my explanation served to give some clarification and distinction between the different branches, organizations, and the difference between law enforcement and military exercise or military usage. Jolene, let's do this super chat from Augie. PayPal. He says, what do you think of Trump's press secretary's explanation on the drones? Thanks, John. I think the drone explanation satisfied us to a degree. We were told that the drones are here for, well, they're American and controlled by America, authorized by the Federal Aviation Administration. Good. They're not aliens. It's not China. It's not Russia. It's not Iran. It's not the Syrian Electronic Army. Great. But they're here for research and various other missions. That's too fucking vague in my book. I do not like that. I don't blame the press secretary for that weak explanation as to what exactly they're doing here. They were destabilizing confidence in the government, destabilizing confidence in our safety, that is where Biden failed America. Or maybe he was successful in scaring the fuck out of people, when all they had to do was say, those are American drones, and we're conducting tests to see if our equipment can do this or that or the other. Fucking explain it. So I don't like it. I don't like the explanation, Augie. I want to know more. What the fuck are they testing? What's the research? What's the purpose? You don't have to give us the details and the schematics and the electronics, but we have an idea of what they're capable of. Flying very far, flying very fast, disappearing off radar, knocking other devices out of the air, other drones with electronic weaponry. They were using lasers. There's all kinds of stuff. Give us the fucking answers. I don't like secrets. I'm not allowed to keep any secrets from the government. They're probably hacking my computer systems as we speak. In any event, folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. We'll be back 0 dark 30 tomorrow. It's a shit show, folks. It's a shit show. And chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a patriot and a prepper?